Hi there, Lee Grain-Free Insights. Thank you so much for being here. I want today to talk about trying to adjust to eating grain-free and gluten-free. For some people, it's easy. And a lot of times, the younger they are, the easier it is. But for those like me who love bread more than just about anything in the world, it can be really tough. And from my experience, people go through three stages when they're learning to eat grain-free, which of course would include learning to eat gluten-free. The first stage is, this is horrible. I'm never going to be able to eat this, not for the rest of my life. Please just give me real pizza. Please just give me real bread, real spaghetti. Yuck. I don't know if you are a fan of Stanley Tucci. I am. I love Stanley Tucci. And he's written a book called Taste, and it's a memoir of his life with food. It has everything from what it was like growing up in a lovely Italian family as a child to some of his food experiences as an actor. There's one scene in there when he was filming The Devil Made Prada, where he and a number of people in the cast go out for lunch. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but the whole book is worth that one scene. I laughed so hard. Anyway, in the book, there is a section, and again, I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to give away too many spoilers. There's a section where he has to eat gluten-free. And he kind of rants about it. I completely agreed with him. I felt the same way when I had to give up gluten. You know, growing up in an Italian family, he loved pasta. And, you know, from all of his testing and everything he did, nothing tasted like real pasta. I have to say, I agree. Nothing tastes like real pasta. However, you go through stages. If you have not read Stanley Tucci's book, Taste, I will link to it below. It's a fun read. But let's go on to the second stage. The second stage is, I still don't really like what I'm eating, but I'm going to eat it anyway. It's better than nothing. And it does help satisfy a little bit of my craving, but it's not really doing it. And then there's the third stage. The third stage is, wow, this doesn't taste so bad. When I had this months ago, I couldn't stand it, but now it tastes pretty good. That third stage is I think, your body readjusting, conforming to all of the changes that you've made. And now suddenly things are more appealing and more appetizing. I love that stage. It took me a long time to get there. I probably would have given up, except I get so seriously sick when I eat even a fraction of a crumb of gluten. I've talked about this before, that it wasn't worth it to cheat, because, you know, who wants to be in the bathroom for a week, right? Back to the book Taste. In the book, he ends up being able to go back on gluten again, Stanley Tucci does, and never really, I don't think, went through all the different phases of someone who has to give up something that they miss. I often wonder if he's still able to eat gluten, or if maybe his body caught up with him and now he's having problems with gluten again. I also wonder what might have happened if he had to stay gluten-free for a prolonged period of time, if he would have eventually adapted and not hated gluten-free pasta as much as he did in the book. Now, for those of you who do grain-free, as you know, most gluten-free pasta is rice or corn or a combination of the two. Sometimes there's quinoa, but there's also a lot of rice flour. Not rice flour, I'm sorry, vegetable flour pastas out there. One is a pea pasta that I enjoy, and another, and I'll link to that below too. I've seen some others made with lentils and various things. For those on the specific carbohydrate diet, we've talked about that earlier. but I will link to it below. For those on the specific carbohydrate diet, right now, I don't think any of the grain-free pastas are legal. It's because anytime you use a grain-free flour, it has to be pre-soaked. But of course, those of you who are following that eating regimen probably know that already. So here's a trick that really worked for me as I was trying to get through those first 3 stages. I would ask myself, what am I craving? And what am I feeling sorry for myself about? And then I would go online and I would try to find a recipe, or maybe even invent one on my own, that came really close to tasting the way the food that I miss tastes. Here's an example. I like breakfast cereal, and not being able to have that anymore really bothered me. I found that a combination of fruits, nuts, sometimes seeds, and then my milk of choice. I like to use walnut milk. I make my own, but maybe you are able to drink milk. If not, maybe you're able to eat yogurt. Yogurt on this is really good too. Or maybe you like almond milk. Whatever type of milk you enjoy, just put a combination. My favorite is to take, and I love to use organic, to take an organic apple and chop it up really well, and then take some walnuts and chop those, and maybe a banana or some craisins or some raisins, really whatever I have lying around the house. Fresh peaches are amazing. I have a peach tree. I'm really hoping that it's going to bloom this year. We've had a lot of wind, so I hope I'm not losing any of the blooms, and I hope we get lots of peaches. So I would just combine that and then put some really nice cold milk of choice on top. It was amazing how good it tasted. Very crunchy, very sweet, really enjoyable. In fact, it got to the point to where right now, if someone were to give me a bowl of grain cereal, I wouldn't want it. The grain-free stuff is so good. In the notes, I've put some various fruits, nuts, seeds that you can use to combine to make that breakfast cereal, or come up with some ideas of your own. Are there any foods that you really crave, that you have found a way to make something that really does satisfy that craving, even though you're not allowed to eat the food that's causing the craving? If so, let's get a conversation going below. Please let me know what you would like a substitute recipe for. Maybe I can help you with that, or what you have done to substitute something where now you really enjoy eating it when you never thought you would. Life is too short not to have fun. And food, while it's meant to be nutritious, and of course we're all supposed to eat to live, not live to eat, let's be honest. Food is fun too, and there's nothing wrong with that. We want each meal to be delicious, enjoyable. We want it to be something we look forward to. I am going to start having a series of little videos called something along the lines of gluten-free food hacks or grain-free food hacks. So watch for those, because in those I will be sharing other things, just like the breakfast cereal, that really seem to satisfy that craving and taste really good without having to resort to cheating. Thanks so much for being here. Hope to hear from you. Take care.